Good morning, good morning, good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Happy Monday to everyone. I hate to start the week with an apology, but I do feel like I need to. We ended Friday's show without resolving our giveaway. I completely forgot it was sat there lurking in the background, and now I have a bit of a dilemma. So there is a separate tool that I use to do the prize draws on these things, and it's always linked to a specific episode of this show. But I've kept the window open. I'll show it to you now. There you are. It's still open. I don't know. I literally no idea if the draw is going to work now, because obviously Friday's show is long since over. But I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it in just a second. But I'm going to say good morning to Jim Turner, to Alex Latham, and to Mark Whiting. Good morning, one and all. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Let's resolve this. Well, let's try to resolve this first and foremost. Let me go over here and press the prize draw and hope that it works. Well, at least it works. That's something, I guess. Mick Norton has won himself a bottle. Fantastic stuff. Okay, I'll note that down. I haven't seen Mick here yet, but the bottle this time around is going to Mick Norton. Now, I've got the system that I use for this, very quickly, the system I use for this doesn't allow me to have two operating at the same time. So I wasn't able to set one up for today, but I've got a long film to start with. I've got about a 9-minute film, our first film today. So while that's happening, I will do my level best to set up another prize draw so we can give away another one. So watch this space, in other words. Chris Ford says, good morning, Wrecking Crew. Don't let the balls go rusty. No, don't let the drop balls go rusty. Well, frankly, too late for some of us, I fear. But thank you very much indeed for the advice. And Ken Hatcher is here, broadcasting live from Welsh Wales in the pouring rain by the looks of it. And Mercy Johnston here as well. Good Monday morning. Yeah, good Monday morning indeed. I'm sure you picked up the news that the succession that we've been questioning for quite some time now has finally happened, or is about to happen, should I say. Yes, Anthony Bamford is to step down and to pass the reins at JCB to his youngest son, George. I was in the company of both of them just last week. So with hindsight, I've seen them together before. Was that a precursor, a kind of an unspoken handover? I don't know. But yes, it came out over the weekend, and I have much to say about it. Today's morning monologue is dedicated to that. Dan Cullen has just arrived, and yes, Gary Muirhead says, I see Lord Bamford is ready to stand down. Yeah. I'll tell you more about it when we get there. I'll tell you more about it when I get there. But the one thing I would say about Anthony Bamford, I have met lots of directors, lots of CEOs and stuff. I can't think of any other company with such a hands-on chairman. Things like the launch of the Hydrodig, he was there. The launch of the Diesel Max, he was there. Launch of the Hydromax, he was there. Launch of the 420X, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and the 520X, he was there as well. Very, very much hands-on. And I've always wondered, those at JCB always just refer to him as the chairman. He's never Lord Bamford, Sir Anthony Bamford, Mr. Bamford. He is just the chairman. And they're always at pains to express just how involved he was. Things like the Hydrodig, this was his brainchild, and the Hydromax is his brainchild, and stuff like that. It sounds like PR spin. Oh yes, it's come on high from the chairman. He's such an innovator, and I think you could dismiss it as, well, that's just something they say. But when you actually see him attending and mixing with the riffraff of the global construction press, it does feel just like it is his baby, and he wants to see it through to fruition. Dan Cullen saying good luck to him. Stefan Edwards is here as well. Morning, Stefan. Andy Darvell is here as well. Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Bring on the sunshine. Just bring on some sunshine. That would be good. I will tell you that on Friday last week, I bought and paid for our next holiday. Last one was a year ago. Yeah, we're going off on another cruise, going around the Med, but in a different direction this time. We're doing Spain, Italy, bit of Turkey, bit of Morocco, and then back to Spain. I'll bore you with it sometimes. You'll be delighted to know as well that thanks to JCB, my camera is now back in my possession. They said they'd found it. It's now back. It arrived here, special delivery on Saturday, and it's allowed me to get some more stuff off, including the thing that I'm about to do in a moment. Dan, don't forget the draw. I've already done it. Mick Norton won it. I'm going to play you a film in a moment. I want to try and set up today's one in the background. I hope I can do it. It's a temperamental beast, but I hope I can do it. So watch this space. Without further ado, let's crack on, because the sooner I get to that first film, the sooner I can actually get the thing set up. So watch this space. Without further ado, let me roll the intro and get this show on the road. It is Monday, the 18th of May. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the Walrus of Demolition, the Lord High Chancellor of live streaming, the authentic voice of the global demolition industry. In today's show, JCB goes heavy with not one, but two new large excavators. We're dropping in on Merlo UK, last train to Cat Central, and we're heading back to Verona to see what Bobcat had on display at the SaMoTeR 2026 exhibition. And in today's episode of Mark's Morning Monologue, The House That Joe Built, Act 3. Yeah. Plus, if I can make it work, there's going to be another chance to win an air-up hydration system. We're down to the last couple, so watch out for that. But before we do all of that, let me go over to the chat. What's happening here? Perhaps it does need some young blood injecting into the company. Maybe. I mean, I don't get the feeling that the company was suffering in any way, but from having an 80-year-old at the helm. Quite the opposite, in fact. Anthony Bamford has always been a force of nature. Didn't get the impression that they needed a young blood injection, but I do think with George, who is taking over the helm there, and also with Joe, the older brother, who is beavering away on all things hydrogen, including the high kit, hydrogen fueling system for some of the JCB products. I do think there's big things to come, so look out for that. Yes, let's crack on, shall we? We're going to start with a bit of Cat, and then we're going straight into JCB. Now, as I reported last week when I came back from Roaster and from Kevin Quarry, the weather was quite the challenge while we were there. It rained and then it stopped, and it rained and it stopped. As a result of which, the new 420X and 520X excavators didn't really do a great deal. They did a bit of tracking and a bit of miming, but they didn't really do a huge amount. Thankfully, the camera that I had lost and have now been reunited with was trained on the actual launch itself. So I'm going to take you behind the scenes. This is the bit we don't normally see. This is Richard Brooks and Tom Whitaker actually introducing the 420X and the 520X. And while this is going on, I'll be sorting out that prize draw in the background. So sit back and enjoy.
Thank you for joining us this morning here at JCB Heavy Products. Our excavator customers, they demand strength, durability, reliability, comfort and ease of use, as well as productivity, efficiency and of course serviceability. And our X series range of excavators delivers on those demands. In our first X series models, were the 210X and the 220X in the 20-ton weight segment. And we followed those with machines in the 13 to 16-ton weight segment, with the launch of the 131X, the 140X, and the 150X. We then delivered the reduced tail swing models, the 24-ton 245XR and the 14-ton 145XR. Well, this wasn't enough. We wanted a larger machine, and so did our customers. So 2 years ago, we did just that, with the launch of the fantastic 370X, our largest X-Series excavator to date, and targeting the 35 to 40-ton weight segment. But we haven't stopped there. Ladies and gentlemen, having cameras ready, I'm delighted to unveil to you today not one, but two brand new larger excavators joining our X-Series range. Here they are, the 42-ton 420X and the 52-ton JCB 520X. How about that? The result of thousands of hours of testing in all applications, climates and conditions. The engineers have done a truly amazing job. Two fantastic looking new excavators, which I'm sure you'll agree look like they mean business. I'm going to hand over now to Tom Whittaker, General Manager here at Heavy Products, to tell us more about both new models.
Well, I think wow were the only words, Billy. I think it's worth reiterating. The 520X is the largest machine that JCB has ever built. It's a first from JCB, and I'm incredibly proud of what the whole team have achieved. The 520X is designed to meet the extreme demands of the global 50-ton market. And it also becomes the first X-Series machine to be offered globally across all markets. Weighing in at up to 55.3 tons, with a 400 horsepower engine powering bucket capacities up to 3.4 cubic meters, the 520X is without question a true flagship machine. This machine really delivers on the expect more promise in a very powerful way. Starting then at the business ends, the 520X combines new high-capacity HD buckets and XHD buckets with a choice of max excavation dig ends or a 6.9 meter reach spec where extra flexibility is required. We've also paired this with a all-new breaker offering from JCB Attachments. The HM450T becomes the largest break in our range of 4.5 tons and is designed and developed to work in perfect harmony with 520X in the most demanding applications. Of course, strength and durability are X-Series attributes that are absolutely critical in this size class. As Richard mentioned, the 520X has undergone an intensive 4-year testing program to ensure we develop the most robust undercarriage and dig end structures that we've ever built. So that undercarriage, we're bringing outstanding tractive effort, 378 kilonewtons in fact. New twin-supported top bowlers for extreme strength, and the same new side profile design that we see on the 420X to reduce the build-up of the wing. The 520X is then available in either a fixed or variable gauge undercarriage, giving the ability to meet a sub 3 meter transport width as of live. The 520X also takes e-power from Cummins, this time the X12 engine, providing power in a refined and durable, easy to maintain package. 400 horsepower is then channeled through the latest generation hydraulics, tuned for maximum efficiency and featuring regenerative hydraulics and a hydraulically driven cooling system with reverse fan as standard. 500-hour engine service intervals and easy to access service points help maximize uptime and reduce cost, all supported further by LiveLink telematics as standard. A new dual slew motor system with a reinforced slew link delivers strong cycle times and outstanding productivity. Our standard working pressure is 343 bar, and that can be boosted for 9 seconds at the push of a button, delivering a whole 318 kilonewtons of bucket air output. The 520X also offers a dual lane pump setup. 2 times 4 litres per minute of flow are available, and that beats the competition in this class. The 520X is JCB's new X-Series flagship. It's built to deliver more output and more uptime in the most demanding applications. Put simply, it's built to dig hard, load hard, and keep material moving at the top end of the sector. And just like every X-Series machine in the range, we've chosen to fit the Command Plus cap, giving full customization of operator profiles, joystick controls, and attachment settles, all accessed via the new 10-inch display. Add to that the comfort, the spacious, quiet, premium cap with strong safety credentials such as ROT certification, 2-go hydraulic isolation, and a high-definition 360-degree camera. The Command Plus cap ensures that our operators use that modern machine too. So, when we look at both of these machines together, the story is actually very simple. The 420X gives customers a highly productive, highly stable, highly efficient excavator right in the heart of the heavy excavator segment. And the 520X takes all of that to the next level as the biggest, most robust and durable excavator that JTB has ever built. Together, they prove to customers what we say at JCB when they say they should expect more. More productivity, more durability, more efficiency, more control, and more comfort. But most importantly, more of what customers in this segment actually care about. More tons moved per hour, more hours worked in the day, and more value delivered over the life of the machine. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the all-new 420X and 520X. 2 machines designed and built to give customers even more for JCB. Thank you.
So there you are. That's the 420X and the 520X. As I say, apologies for the lack of action. I'm sure JCB will be releasing a film showing the machines in action in the very near future, but the weather was against us. I've now edited my film on the 715 ADT, which I'll bring you tomorrow. That will give you an indication of the weather, because I'm stood there basically in the pouring rain talking to myself. Anyway, lots and lots of comment on that. Dan Cullen, first of all, have you ever asked JCB for a sponsorship? More than once. More than once. And he also says, can't wait to get into one of those in the future. Mick Norton joined us as well, and I informed him that he has actually, in fact, won Friday's competition. Speaking of competitions, which I sort of am, I can tell you, today's is up and running. And because it was done on the fly, all I need you to do is type the word water, WATER, into the chat, and you will be entered into the prize draw. If Andy Dalvell and Gary Muirhead, if you can take a step back, because I'd like somebody else to win, but I'm sure you'd be gentlemanly enough to do that anyway. Jim Turner, I'd love to have been involved in the testing of that. Be my dream job. You and me both, mate. Gary, I wonder, he says, if they'll ever bring out a factory-built high-reach demolition excavator. Well, wonder no longer. I had lunch with Richard Brooks, the first guy that you saw on the film there. I asked him that very question, and he said no. More than happy to work with converters like Kukurik and Larini and stuff like that. More than happy to make their machines available for that kind of thing, but they have no intention of doing it themselves. Goes back to what I've always said about JCB. JCB are really, really good at making hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of a single machine. What they're not so great at, because it's not their business model, is to make one-offs. And unfortunately, high-ridge excavators are very much one-offs. Dr. Yvonne Waterman, we were talking about you just this weekend, actually, Yvonne. All positive, I'll point out. There's been a bit of a drive in this country over the last couple of days from the Health and Safety Executive on silicosis and silica dust and stuff. And it's just been described in many, many circles as the new asbestos. I realise asbestos and mesothelioma is very much your specialist subject, but do you have any take on silica dust? A few of our audience were asking that very question. But welcome back. Haven't seen you for a while. Is that Nick Drew standing there? It's hard to spot him because he's only that big. But yes, that was Mr. Drew stood there taking notes and filming and stuff. So, Mark, sorry I was unaware. Got called away Friday. Delighted to have won. Mick, you have no idea. I've completely forgot to do the prize draw on Friday. I did it this morning. It was a screw up of the highest order. I can only apologise. There's Yvonne saying, always interested to see and learn about these huge machines. Precisely why we do the show. You snooze, you lose, Dan. You missed the free money as well. Let's have a look. Dan, that's interesting. 500-hour servicing. That would be great. Absolutely right. Malcolm Dye. I haven't seen Malcolm here for quite some time. He says two great new additions to the ever popular X Series range. Yeah, it's quite the range now, isn't it? Will there ever be a Demolition, as they'd be a great addition? As I say, they've got the heavy duty undercarriage, but they don't have the rest of the package. You know, the guarding, the underbelly protection, and all the things that go with it. But yes, I would imagine somebody out there will say, I quite fancy me a high reach. I'll base it on a 520X. Kukurik, Larini, have a bit of a punch up and see who comes back with the best ideas. Ken Hatcher looks like a nice unit for the bigger market. It certainly does. Still think it'll take a lot to beat the Cat 352 next generation. Yeah, I mean, I'd quite like to see them side by side. I really would like to see them side by side. Dan says, I'd eat, sleep and work in that. Okay. Question is, will the X Series go bigger than the 520X? Good question. I mean, I'll be absolutely honest with you. I didn't really think it was going to go much bigger than the 370X. I mean, a 40-ton class machine, certainly a good addition. A 50-ton class machine is a good addition. But where is the next proper cutoff? Is a 60-tonner really a thing? Or are we looking at a 70-tonner? I'd love to get your thoughts. We've already had some entries for our competition. No, I think that's it. Very big for JCB. Yeah, and we're talking more about JCB in our morning monologue today as well. Well done, Mick. Jim Turner says, bet they love Mr. Drew on the front row. Makes their kit look bigger. That's unkind. But it does. Yes, Andy Dalvell. I wonder if Lynch will be putting in any orders for the big new JCBs. Watch this space. Watch this space. Of course, I'll stand back. I've only got one mouth, so I only need one water bottle. Thank you very much indeed, Andy Dalvell. The bad dust on my site has just been changed to mud. I don't know if that's a step up or a step down. Dan saying good morning to Yvonne. But I'm in easy traveling distance from JCB, so the sting of not working there, sorry, is worse for me. I bet it is. I'm leaning on them, promise me. Yvonne Waterman, silicosis is a disease that comes and goes in the public awareness, but never goes away in the workplace. Wise words indeed from Dr. Waterman. Chris Ford says, hope the weather is better tomorrow than today. It gets cold in that quarry. Yeah, it does. It was quite funny, actually. When it first started raining, it was tomorrow last week, if you get my meaning. It was you get the idea. It was a week ago. And we arrived by coach, walked out into the quarry, and it was raining. And the rain was hitting my face, and I thought, oh, it's not that bad. It's not too bad being out in the weather. And then my trousers got wet, and then my hands got cold, and the more it went on, the more I thought, I'd forgotten how unpleasant this is. I'm praying for sunshine for you, my friend. Andy Darvell says, yes, Gary, the next gen Cat 352 is the best 50-tonner I've operated, hands down. Sorry, Volvo and Liebherr. Fighting talk. The HEC is right about pointing out the dangers of silicosis, but it should have been done. It should have been doing so continuously. It dropped the ball on that one, but in fairness, the same happened everywhere. Silicosis is basically the oldest occupational disease out there, which is precisely as I reported last week. I'm quite glad I got my facts straight. I don't just throw these things together. I do a bit of research, Where did JCB source the steel for the manufacture of their excavators? All over. I think they take some out of Scandinavia, but I'd be astonished if they weren't bringing in some from China, for example, probably going the long way round from the Strait of Hormuz right now. Gary, I wonder if this launch was because of the 50-tonner in India being leaked. Possibly. I think there's more to it than that. I think it's more a case of Hillhead is just a few weeks away. And if you're going to launch a machine into the UK market in the 50-ton class, you don't want to be doing it at the executive hire show. You don't want to be doing it necessarily at Plant Works, which is still a year away. Why not do it at Hillhead, where people that buy 50-tonners will be there in their droves? Malcolm Dyke says Tata Steels too. So they are actually sourcing some of their steel from the UK. Although saying Tata Steel in the UK is kind of a contradiction in terms, but the steel, even if the company doesn't come from the UK, the steel apparently does. Thank you for all of that. As I say, we are going to be heading back to talk about the big change that's coming at JCB in the not too distant future. But first, we've got a bit of this.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
I don't do it so much these days, but I used to travel around and visit not just contractors and sites, but I used to visit a lot of manufacturers. I've never been to Merlo. Never, ever been to Merlo, but I've not been to Merlo here. I've not been to their manufacturing facility. I've had nothing to do with Merlo whatsoever. So this is a bit of a voyage of discovery for me as well. This apparently is what Merlo UK looks like.
Hello and welcome to Merlo UK. My name's Sean Groom. I'm the General Manager of Merlo UK and have the pleasure of leading the team. We're based here in Ringwood on the south coast of England. Merlo's been here for 30 years as of 2023, founded way back in 1993 as a joint venture company originally, but today we're a wholly owned subsidiary of Merlo Group. From here in Ringwood, we service our entire UK dealer network, both in agriculture and construction. With nearly 50 dealers across the UK, we support a wide customer base in all four corners of the country. From here, we keep a wide range of parts, which we supply on a daily basis to support the machines in the field, which are supported via our nationwide network of dealers and our after-sales and technical teams here in Ringwood. So here at Merlo, green is not only a colour, but it's also a pledge. Merlo is renowned as being an innovative brand. Throughout our history, from 1964 right through till the present day, we've been at the forefront of developments in telescopic handlers. Whether it's our innovative hydrostatic drive, through to our boom side shift, or as you see today, our patented cab suspension systems, you'll always find Merlo at the forefront of the developments in the telescopic handler industry. The innovations and developments and technology that we can offer are far away from where we were in 1993, but their roots and origins very much were established back then.
So there you are. That is the background to Merlo. Now, going back to JCB and steel, Malcolm Dyke insisted that JCB are buying their steel from Tata Steel too. Ken Hatcher says Tata Steel in South Wales, but they import it now. Don't think UK makes heavy steel anymore. There you are. Interesting how they kept it 4 years in hiding. JCB are remarkably good at that kind of thing. There was a time when, back in the early days of Alton Towers, the theme park, there was a bit between Alton Towers and JCB where if you timed it right and if you hung around for long enough, you could actually see part of their test site, and occasionally you would glimpse some machines, often unmarked, but you'd look. That's new. I've never seen one of those before. They're much more savvy about it now. Although I guess with drone technology, it wouldn't take a huge amount. But bearing in mind the amount of testing that they've done, those 420X and 520X machines will have been out with customers at some point in the not too distant past, and they've never been spotted. So fair play. Industrial espionage, but in a good way, if you know what I mean. Yes, Merlo in 1993. I remember them arriving. Gary Muirhead says, Greenwood Hire are a massive hirer of Merlo equipment. I know Dan has asked why we don't see more of them on site. I think it's because they are traditionally stronger in agriculture. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn there. Chris Ford, on the same subject for JCB, used to have a test track in the middle of their estate, Dan. You could keep an army in there undiscovered. Yeah, it is quite the sprawling site. Gary says, we used to have them in the power line industry for lifting cable drums. Best in class, he says. Mick Norton says, Merlo offer a formidable range of variable reach trucks in pan sector applications. In my opinion, they lead the field in telescopic handlers and applications. Wow. Jim says, first 360-degree telehandler I worked alongside was a Merlo about 20 years ago. Great machine. Yeah, they are. Very, very good machines. Manufacturers fit car-type seatbelts to excavators and dozers. I always wear my seatbelt in the machine to keep me held in the seat. A 3-point would feel more comfortable to me. Manufacturers, are you listening? Andy Delville wants to feel more secure. Sort him out, would you? That was part of the same question. Okay, we're bang up to date. Let me just say that we've had 6 so far entries. If you look at the top of the screen, if you haven't entered already, to win an Air Up water bottle, just type the word water, WATER, into the chat. We've got 6 entries. You've got a 1 in 6 chance of winning right now. But if you'd like to enter, and if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitch, you can enter. If you're watching on Instagram, you can't. You'll have to go over to one of those other platforms to take part. So do that. While you're doing that, I'll do this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
It's a 1 in 7 chance now, just so you know. Gary says, we actually had an RRV Merlo 360, which was road rail converted to run on the rails. Bet that was a smart looking machine. Dan says, exactly what I was thinking, Andy. Why don't manufacturers do this for seatbelts? Listen, I can't necessarily speak for all the manufacturers, but I'm going to signal my kind of response to that. I think they would be more expensive. I think the absolute truth of the matter. Merlo produced 8,400 machines in 2022, of which 7,000 were telehandlers. The UK takes 10 to 12% of Merlo's total production, making it one of Merlo's largest export markets. Thanks for that, Nick. Good to have this information at our disposal. I'm looking at the wrong thing on my screen. Yes, I'm going to call this one. Anyone remember the KLF song, Last Train to Trans Central? This is Last Train to Cat Central.
Meet Mike, a new cat customer who just got his first piece of cat equipment, a medium wheel loader. It's helping him get the work done faster, and he plans to keep it that way. Mike's small business runs on hard work, so he recently found a way to simplify things. With the Cat Central app, he's got a treasure trove of cat knowledge and support at his fingertips. Now he feels like a connected man. Yet, he can stay connected with this easy way into the cat digital ecosystem. Setting up his account in the Cat Central app was simple. A few clicks and he was in. Now, Mike uses the app as a single source of maintenance insights, factory fit parts, and expert support. He's got his cat equipment in there to speed up what he's got to get done as an owner-operator. No matter where Mike is, it connects him to what his equipment needs to help him stay ahead. Let's shine a light on what easy ownership looks like for Mike thanks to the Cat Central app. Mike has a lot on his plate when he steps onto a work site. The Cat Central app makes managing it easier with less stress and more confidence. For example, he knows which maintenance items to focus on right away, thanks to service recommendations delivered through the app. And with a few simple clicks, he's able to diagnose the issue and find tailored resources along with factory-fit parts right in the palm of his hand. No more dragging out old manuals and digging through them. He's got quick, clickable access to equipment-specific operation and maintenance manuals right there in the app. And no more going to the dealership every time he needs a part either. Now it takes seconds to find what he needs to help maintain and repair his equipment. Mike can even use the operations and maintenance manuals in Cat Central to get equipment operation info and recommended maintenance schedules. And when he needs help with maintenance or repairs, he can request dealer service in Cat Central too. Nice. He's feeling pretty good about having more visibility into his equipment at a glance. He can monitor its health on the go by seamlessly accessing Visionaling insights in Cat Central. For his Visionaling subscribed equipment, he can quickly pull up fuel levels, equipment location, and health summaries right in the palm of his steady hand. The Cat Central app. Less stress, less downtime, one happy customer. And one more reason he's glad he bought a cat. Go on, Mike. There's no holding you back on your digital journey. Tap into the power of digital to simplify the physical. Whether you've got new or old cat equipment, download the Cat Central app to help your business today. Available on the App Store or Google Play.
Last train to Cat Central. I was quite pleased with that. Right, okay, we've got one more film to show you. It's not a bit of a mixed bag, this one, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you a Hillhead preview, and then we're going back to SaMoTeR. It made sense when I was doing it. What have we got here? Our friend Wolfie has just joined us as well. Good morning, Mark, all the way from the US of A. Mick Norton says, I always had a tremendous response to any training inquiries to Merlo back in the day. Other competitors didn't get anywhere near. Interesting. Dan Cullen says, I'd love to have a conversation with manufacturers and with car style seatbelts, operators be more visible if they're wearing it or not. True enough. True enough. Personally, I believe penalties, docking of wages if you're not wearing it. It's for your own good, people. It's for your own good. Anyway, I've got one more film. I'm going to play the preview. Once this film is over, I will draw today's draw because we've got 7 people, I think, in the running. But let's do this first. So that's looking forward to Hillhead. We're about to look back actually to SaMoTeR. What have we got there? Chris Ford, highway to Hillhead, the A515. Yeah, car knows the way. What tune is that from? I don't know. That was supplied to us by MB Crusher. Don't know. Could probably run it through Shazam if you have that. I'll be playing it again tomorrow, no doubt. Right, okay, we're going back to Verona. Verona in Italy to see what Bobcat had in store for those that visited SaMoTeR. Right. No visit to an international exhibition is complete without a call by to see the fine folks at Bobcat. Those that know Bobcat will know they make a lot of machines, but they also make an absolute ton of attachments when they're out in force here, augers and saws. We'll go through. I'm going to try and avoid the merch store because I always end up parting with money when I go there. Through to the telehandler. The telehandlers, plural, should I say? I'm not going to the bar, it's far too early. And then we'll go past the compressor to the things that Bobcat are really known for. Obviously, the skid steer. compact track loader. Mini excavator as well. We'll do a quick left. There's a quick glimpse of Leica. Come right the way around here.
Con le analisi che Merlo per adesso risposta da aiuti
The Bobcat T86-2. Well, I promised I wouldn't go there. I'm going to keep the credit card in my pocket. But final port of call. The merch stand. And I apologise to the other manufacturers, but in my opinion, Bobcat do the best merch in the business. You probably can't tell, but I'm actually counting on them on my left hand at the moment. The number of items I can see in that window that I've already owned, right the way through to the models. And that completes our trip to Bobcat. Right, so that's Bobcat put to bed. Now it's time for our prize draw. I'm going to do it on the right day today. There we are. It's up for grabs. Let me see. We have 7 entries. Without further ado, let me hit the draw button and see who has won today's draw. Malcolm Dyke, congratulations, sir. He goes missing in action for months on end, and he comes back and immediately walks away with a prize. Congratulations, Malcolm. Please do me a favour if you're still here. Please drop me a line with your postal address, would you? Let me just go back a little bit. Let me take that off the screen. Yes, he's over on Facebook. I will, if I don't get a message from him, I will let him know, and I'll get his address and get that over. Yeah, Dan Cullen, caps. What? Oh my God, I'd be skint. Yeah, well, I'm off to the Czech Republic with Bobcat next week. Yeah, it is next week. Oh, fantastic, Malcolm. Please let me have your address. You've just seen that. Wolfie, you're too late on that one, I'm afraid, but we'll be back tomorrow. And, well, the way you enter is at the top of the screen, although I'm about to take it away. But I'll do it again tomorrow. If you're here, please tune in, and I'll talk you through it. Yes, I'm off to Czech Republic to see Bobcat 26th in the evening. So I'll do a show on the 26th, 27 and 28. I'm actually in the Czech Republic, so there won't be a show that day. But I'm going to be mixing with all of the hats. One of the things that they do, they have like an outdoor demo area, and it's split in two. They tend to have the bigger machines on the right hand side and the smaller machines on the left, and in between the two is kind of a semi-permanent structure where they serve lunch and coffee, but they also have a merch shop. I mean, I may as well just walk in there, hand them my credit card, and just say, oh, do your worst. Just take my money, because honestly, the number of things that I'd like to have there. So yes, look out for that. Never know, I may come back with a freebie or two. We shall see. Anyway, people, that's about it for the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into my morning monologue. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. I hope to see you again very, very soon. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I will be back immediately after this, and we're going to be, we're talking JCB again. We've already done it once, quite extensively, but this is, it's momentous news for the industry. So we're going to be talking about them again after this. Demolition and construction professionals know the story well. The empire began in a modest Uttoxeter lock-up garage in 1945 when Joseph Cyril Bamford welded together a tipping trailer from wartime scrap metal. Joe Bamford was a mechanical genius who single-handedly put his eponymous company on the map. He gave the world the backhoe loader, built a formidable brand and laid the foundations on which a global business would be built. However, the modern behemoth we know today is the result of a second act. When Anthony Bamford stepped into his father's shoes in 1975, he took charge of a highly respected but predominantly domestic enterprise. Over the subsequent 5 decades, he transformed JCB from a British favourite into an international superpower. Now, with the announcement that Anthony Bamford is to hand over the reins to his youngest son, George, the company and the industry stands at the threshold of an historic transition. To look forward to JCB's third generation, we must first look back at the monumental legacy that George will inherit. In Roaster and across the worldwide dealer network, Anthony Bamford is referred to simply and with immense respect as the chairman. The chairman's vision was defined by an aggressive and forward-thinking policy of international expansion. He understood that to survive in an increasingly competitive global market, JCB couldn't rely solely on the loyalty of British contractors. He pushed the business across continents, expanding the company's product portfolio significantly, both at home and overseas. Where Joe Bamford perfected the backhoe, Anthony diversified the fleet into telescopic handlers, tracked excavators, mini excavators, wheel loaders, and highly specialised agricultural equipment like the high-speed fast-track tractor. Crucially, this product diversification was matched by a massive manufacturing footprint. The chairman looked at maps and saw not borders, but opportunity. He oversaw the establishment of major manufacturing hubs far afield, long before global supply chains were the industry norm. Today, JCB's sprawling operations in India have made the brand so dominant in the subcontinent that the word JCB is used as a generic verb for digging in Hindi. In the United States, the Savannah facility in Georgia cemented the company's presence in the fiercely competitive North American market. Similar strategic factories arose in Brazil and China, ensuring that JCB was never just an exporter, but a localized manufacturer with a global background. This relentless drive for international commerce brought a cascade of accolades to the Staffordshire headquarters, including dozens of prestigious Queen's Award for Enterprise and Export. Yet the chairman always knew that engineering excellence requires a bit of showmanship to truly capture the imagination. Under his watch, JCB became a world record breaker. The company famously built the JCB Diesel Max, a streamliner powered by 2 JCB diesel engines that achieved a staggering land speed record of 350 miles an hour on the Bonneville Salt Flats in 2006, a record that still stands today. Yet innovation under the chairman has never been about gimmickry. It's always been focused on solving the immediate and future problems of the site manager and the machine operator. As the machine turns its attention toward carbonisation, As the world turns its attention toward decarbonisation, JCB has positioned itself ahead of the curve. The pinnacle of this modern engineering drive is the Hydromax, a pioneering vehicle designed to push the boundaries of zero-emission technology. Just last week, George Bamford accompanied his father at an official event to mark the unveiling of the Hydromax, which is currently preparing for an historic attempt on the hydrogen speed record. This impending record attempt is not just a marketing exercise. It represents the vital bridge between the chairman's tenure and the era that his sons will define. The development of hydrogen combustion engines at Roaster has been a personal crusade for Anthony Bamford, who has long argued that battery electric power is insufficient for the grueling duties of heavy earth-moving machinery. Now, much has been made in the business press of the fact that the keys to the kingdom are being passed to the youngest son, George. This has led to some speculation among industry outsiders regarding family dynamics. However, a very quick look at the company's house website reveals that eldest son, Joe, has certainly not been left in the shadows. He's built an extraordinary independent empire all his own. Joe Bamford's corporate appointments show an intense, decade-long focus on the green energy sector. He's the driving force behind Rise Power, Hygen Energy, and the Green Hydrogen Investment Fund, HiCap. He also rescued the iconic Northern Irish bus manufacturer Wrightbus, transforming it into a market leader for zero-emission, hydrogen-powered double-deckers. While George takes over the traditional manufacturing mantle at Roaster, Joe is building the very infrastructure that may power the industry's future. And if hydrogen fulfills its immense promise as the ultimate clean fuel for heavy transport and plant machinery, there's every possibility that Joe's independent accomplishments, and indeed his wealth, could one day surpass those of his father and his grandfather. Rather than a division, the family has effectively enacted a pincer movement on the future of heavy engineering, one son producing the machinery, the other producing the fuel. And for George, the step up to the helmet is not mere nepotism. It's the culmination of a lifetime of preparation. He's lived and breathed JCB for the past 40 years. Growing up surrounded by the hum of the production line and the smell of hydraulic fluid, George has spent his entire adult life working within the business, deeply involved in product design, customer relations, and brand promotion. He understands the grit, the dirt, and the dedication required to keep the loyalty of contractors, plant hire giants, and owner-operators alike. His presence alongside his father at the Hydromax unveiling was a symbolic yet unspoken passing of the torch. It demonstrated a shared commitment to the family philosophy that JCB must remain independent, family-owned, and fiercely innovative. As George Bamford prepares to assume control, he inherits a business that is vastly different from the one his grandfather founded or his father took over in 1975. The challenges ahead are no longer just about digging dirt faster or lifting loads higher. They're about navigating geopolitical shifts, automation, and the total reimagining of internal combustion. The chairman leaves behind a global footprint, a legacy of I'll do that whole bit again. The chairman leaves behind a global footprint, a legacy of record-breaking speed and an unshakable reputation for British engineering prowess. As the third generation prepares to take the driver's seat, the name on the chassis remains the same. The yellow paint is just as bright, and history suggests that the drive to innovate is coded into the Bamford DNA. Now, I will expand that in just a moment. A couple of things I wanted to say. Tough act to follow. Really tough act to follow. Obviously, Anthony Bamford was a man on a mission, a force of nature. But more than that, he was he always struck me as very, very hands-on. I said at the top of the show, the number of times I've been to product launches and he's been there. He was actually there in attendance. And I didn't get the impression it was because he happened to be in town. It was more a case of, this was my baby. You know, I was there at the birth, I was there at the inception. I want to be there at the birth, as we're telling the world. They're obviously, you know, the business press being the business press. There have been some questions about, you know, nepotism and family dynamics and stuff like that. I think one of the important things to remember is that there is a CEO in place, has been for more than a decade, a guy called Graham MacDonald, who is as astute as you could possibly imagine. Obviously, George Bamford will become the chairman, but he has a second in command who is, I'm mixing my metaphors here, a second in command who is second to none, an absolutely top-notch CEO. So he's in safe hands. He's got, you know, obviously his father isn't going anywhere, but he's got a fantastic team around him. Wish him every success. The other thing that I just want to do a very quick recollection, and this speaks to the respect with which Anthony Bamford is held. I was at a press conference at a Bauma many years ago, JCB press conference, and they hired one of the meeting rooms at Bauma, and they had 4 or 5 people on the top table, and you know, it was standing room only. There was 150 press crammed in there to hear about the latest JCB innovations and so on. And before the meeting actually started, the one of the speakers said, before we begin, I'd like to welcome our chairman, Anthony Bamford. And he entered to a standing ovation. Now, you have to understand, most of the press at that time were like me, cynical bastards. And yet, to a man, everyone stood up and gave him a rapturous round of applause. That, I think, speaks to the respect with which Anthony Bamford was and is held. Tough mantle for George to pick up, but he certainly looks the part. As I say, he was sat beside his father at the launch of the Hydromax, and questions were being fired to both of them and to some of the Hydromax team. He's already the real deal. He's not shrinking violet, sat in his father's shadow. He is the real deal. Just be interesting to see which way the company goes. And I said at the very, I've written an article about this, which will be published in about 4 minutes' time, actually. This is going to be the third act for JCB, the third chapter. Obviously, Joe Bamford, the founder, was Act 1. Anthony Bamford was Act 2. George Bamford will be Act 3. There is every possibility that Act 3 will be the biggest, most transformational, the most exciting in JCB's history. As a construction equipment manufacturer, JCB sits at the top table, but it's still a long way behind the likes of Komatsu and Caterpillar at the very top. In terms of hydrogen and hydrogen-fueled machines, as it stands today, it's ahead of both of those. And if hydrogen does turn out to be, to fulfill its promise, the future could be JCB coloured. Let me go over to the chat. Dan, you had my attention at the very beginning there. I might give you money. Okay. To get one for me. You want a hat, do you? Okay. Well, let me know. No need to send money in advance. If I can, I'll send you a photograph. You choose your hat, and we'll set it up afterwards. I thought JCB's major innovation was the first fully integrated backhoe loader, not the first backhoe. Well, here's a thing. Whenever there's a press conference, or back in the day, whenever there was a press conference that involved a JCB backhoe loader, somebody at JCB would stand up and say, "Oh, of course, JCB invented the backhoe loader." And my opposite number, Nick Johnson from Plant Hire Executive, would say, "Excuse me, no, you didn't." Well, okay, we did the first integrated backhoe loader. So you're absolutely right. In addition to that, he would do the same. JCB invented the telescopic hander. No, you didn't. Well, okay, we invented the version that is. So yes, it is open to question. Give young Joe a bell. I've another brand new machine that will put his newly acquired leadership on the plant history books. It's George you want. Joe, if you want to talk hydrogen. George, if you want to talk machines. Malcolm Duck says, George will continue the legacy of JCB, guided by his father, a great successor. Presume Lord Bamford will retire after the new Hydromax attempt. Lord Bamford will be a hard act to follow. Good luck to George Bamford. Yeah, I've not seen the two things linked, although what a way to go out. If he were to stand on the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, watch that Hydromax break the world speed record for a hydrogen fueled machine, and then just basically mic drop moment. That's it. I'm done. George is in charge. I'm off to put my feet up. Wouldn't blame him at all. My guess is there will be a bit of a period transition, but yes, I think you're absolutely right. A tough act to follow, but as I say, from all that I've seen of George, right for the job. Sorry, not Joe. I meant George. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic model, Mark. Fair dues. Funnily enough, I had to check a few facts and figures, but by and large, I wrote that entirely from memory. I really did. Partly because I was at JCB recently, but my entire career, I have bathed in the reflected glow from JCB. I was there for their 50th anniversary, their 75th, even though I was the only bugger in the building because it was a height of COVID. I was there for their 80th. I've seen all of these product launches, met Lord Bamford or Anthony Bamford a number of occasions over the years. All of that drawn from memory. Just had to go back and check a few of my facts and figures. JCB has gone from strength to strength, completely astonishing. I mean, there's been hiccups along the way. There have been products that have been introduced and have kind of fallen flat. But they and I mean this with the utmost respect. You know, the comedian Tim Vine specializes in one-liners. You know, he does a joke, does another joke, does another joke, does another joke. And the way that Tim Vine works is, you didn't like that one? Don't worry, there's another one coming along. JCB is very much like that. When I did the book about the renaissance of JCB, and I described them as the apple of the digger world, Tim Burnhope told me that on average, JCB will introduce 55 new or improved products every single year. That's more than one a week, which is why when we go, when us press trudge up the M42 and then across to Roaster, we don't get to see one machine. We generally get to see 3, 4, 5, because they've been beavering away in the background and now they're ready to do the grand unveiling. I'd be interested in seeing the hydrogen machine in action. I would imagine, despite the fact that it's not a quarry machine, they did have a hydrogen presence at the last Hillhead. I would imagine they will have an even bigger hydrogen presence at Hillhead this time around, quite possibly with the hydrogen backhoe loader doing its thing. He will take the company to atmospheric and go further. I think he could. I do think. I thought about electrification, but I think electrification comes with limitations. But I actually believe that electrification kind of leveled the playing field. There was a possibility that a Tesla of the construction equipment world could have come in from left field and basically turned the industry on its arse. It didn't happen. And I know electrification is still going through its many iterations and its improvements and stuff, but I do actually think that hydrogen is that playing field leveler. Because, as I say, JCB is a massive company, multi-billion-pound company, but they're not on the same level as Caterpillar. But if somebody said tomorrow, we've decided en masse that hydrogen is the way forward, JCB has one hell of a lead. I know Liebherr are doing their thing. I know Hyundai are doing their thing. I'm sure there are Volvo are doing their thing. I'm sure there are many others that are looking at this very, very closely. But if you wave that magic wand tomorrow, and if you think of hydrogen adoption as a 100-meter sprint, JCB is already 50 meters into the race. Thank you for that, Malcolm. You're just saying that because you want a water bottle, aren't you? I wonder why JCB aren't up there on par with Cat, Komatsu, etc. Why are these Chinese manufacturers up the charts? Well, for a start, Caterpillar and Komatsu have about a 50-year head start. The Chinese manufacturers obviously have, state backing, but the biggest thing they had was China obviously came from almost a third world country. I mean, some would argue that it was a third world country maybe 25 years ago. And in that span of the last 25 years, it's gone from a third world to a first world country. So the entire infrastructure, construction had to be brought up to speed. And all of those Chinese manufacturers, and we're only aware of some of them, there's others out there that have never bothered to leave their native China. But the likes of XCMG, Sunward, Sany, Lugong, state backing, and a domestic market that was buying literally thousands and thousands and thousands of excavators, wheel loaders and dozers every single year. So they went from virtually nowhere to top table. That's the absolute truth. That's interesting. New product every week. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that. I tend to think of new product introductions as being kind of a point in time. But as they said about the 420X, the 420X and the 520X have been in development. They've been on the drawing board. They've been in discussion for 4 years. 4 years. In actual fact, when it was 2 years ago they launched the 370X, they were already 2 years into the development of the machines that would ultimately be even bigger still. It's an ongoing and rolling process. I don't know how they do it. Not just JCB. I don't know how any of them do it. To constantly push the envelope, and particularly when you think about the background they've done it against in the past few years. when you think about the amount of R&D spend they've had to divert into first achieving stage 3, stage 4, stage 5 engine emissions regulations. So, we've got to make our engines cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. So we divert all our cash into making sure our engines are clean, and they still produced new machines. Now with electrification and hydrogenization, they've got exactly the same draw on their resources, and they are still unveiling new machines. It really is quite astonishing. Many years ago, says Chris, at SaMoTeR Raceway, I saw Sammy Miller fire a hydrogen rocket car up the strip. Fastest quarter mile at the time. Yeah. Funnily enough, there's a bit of me that hopes and prays that JCB or the gods of JCB will look down upon me and say, you'd be a good person to come to Utah with us when we do the land speed record attempt. Come along, bring your camera. And I'd go. In a heartbeat, I would drop everything and I would go. But I do wonder how much you'd see. Yeah, regardless of your vantage point, that thing is going to go past in about that long. I don't know what you think. I certainly don't think I'd be able to film it because it'd be gone and goodbye. Chris Ford said, just Googled it. Was it the fastest quarter mile? Is it still the fastest quarter mile? Don't know. Don't know the answer on that. Anyway, people, I have to bag up another, two water bottles. I'm going to get one up to Wakefield and one to wherever Malcolm Dyke is. Hopefully Malcolm will be good enough to send me his address before I go to the post office. If not, it won't go until tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with another giveaway, so stick around for that if you are interested in that. I will also be able to tell you the story of the JCB 715 and my very vague connection to it now that I've got my camera back. So if you are around tomorrow, please join us. I'll be more than happy to share that with you. Until then, everybody, have a fine and splendid day, and I'll see you on the morrow. Take it easy.